Hi everyone, I'm a bit, oh I'm on time, I was about to say I'm a bit early. I was just trying to work out where my board, oh. Right, let's mute myself because I don't want to hear myself twice. She says, I was just checking to see, you know, where lighting and everything. It is really grey and miserable here today, so it feels like I'm doing winter crafting again. I've got every single light gone. Light pollution time. Hi Mary, hi Dawn, how are we all? Okay, I'm just making a start, and I'll just finish doing this. All I've got is a white piece of card, and I'm just using some washi tape. I want a white border around my piece of work, so that's all I'm doing is just adding a little bit of the washi tape to the edges like that. So I've just got somewhere to start. Hi Natalie, how are you? So let's just, I don't need the stamping bit at the moment, which I need to clean. So let's get going. Right, what I thought we'd do this morning is I want to bring in a little bit of everything. So I'm just going to move my steps out of the way. I want to bring in a little bit of everything. And oh, I'm glad the weather's the same for everyone. Oh, it's horrible. It's June. I know we haven't had much rain, but I would like the temperatures just to be a touch warmer. I'm not into like baking myself silly, but in the same breath, I would like them to be a little bit warmer. Anyhow, I digress. What I thought I wanted to do today was I wanted to do a little bit of an art journal page. Now, I'm going to mix in my stamps from Shady Designs, and I'm going to mix in some Dolly Dimples stamps. And I know I've made lots of backgrounds with my stamps, but I just wanted to show that they could be used as well, you know, with images, for want of a better thing. So that's what we're going to do a bit here. Oh, Natalie, glad you're on the mend. Oh, craft room, the heating on. I know, Dawn, Steve and I were a bit like, shall we, shan't we? Shall we, shan't we? And then thought, oh, it's June. Oh. And then sort of thing, you just think, oh. Right, okay, quick slurp of coffee. So this morning I thought I'm going to bring in a little bit of absolutely everything. I haven't done that for ages. And I'm working with oxides, and the only main reason I'm working with oxides is they just create quicker backgrounds, i.e. as in intensity of colour, compared to using distresses. I don't have to work them as much. I love my distresses, and 9 times out of 10 I'll do an oxide background, then I'll go over with a distress ink, because it's just, I just prefer it, sort of thing. It's just a bit nicer. Now, I'm not sure if I want mustard seed or if I want the squeezed lemonade. Let's get the squeezed lemonade out first. She says, hi, Katie. It is, isn't it? It's a little bit like, oh, we were last night, the neighbours, we had like in our thingy for the Jubilee and stuff. And everybody started out in shorts. I think by about a couple of hours later, we'd all migrated to putting our something on our you know, legs, because it was just too cold. And I think 1 or 2 people ended up going to get blankets as well, sort of thing. It suddenly dropped. And you just thought, it's June. It shouldn't be like this. Right, so I'm going to just, I want to keep quite a subtle colour background. And I'm just going to start off with the squeezed lemonade. I'd rather start lighter and add colour than I would, you know, darker and then try and take it away. I mean, one of the things with the distress is you can always bleach them out, which is good. So I'm just going to start off with a little bit of the yellow. And I'm cheating, not cheating, I want a white border around my work. So I've got an edging straight away. So it's giving me a little bit of a frame, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to lay down some really quick colour I can go a little bit darker with the mustard seed if I want to. I want to bring in a little bit of the saltwater taffy, because it's a nice soft colour as well. So I'm just going to bring in that. I'm going quite pretty colours, which is not normally sort of... I'm getting into the saltwater taffy. I think it was Julia Watts who persuaded me. Hi, Caroline. A blanket over, yeah. It was like that last night. Suddenly, it just... And it wasn't because it was getting dark. The wind picked up here, and it was just... It was like, whew. It was, oh. And you're just thinking, oh, June. We did have one neighbour who was determined to stay in his shorts. The rest of us were just like, no. My legs are still just a touch too white to be in shorts. And I'm not a spray tan person. I used to years ago, but not anymore. Now I think about some of the photographs where I had... Ugh, it looked horrible. Right, so I've got that going on there. And then I just want to bring in... I'm just going to bring in a bit of stamping. I'm using my painted mixing stamps, and I'm going to use... I think I'm going to go for Salvaged Patina. As I said, I'm keeping to quite soft colours this morning. I want to build up the colours, the intensity. Hi, Sharon. So we're just going to go and just bring in different elements. Let me have a think. I want to put it a bit there. Now, this is when I probably should have brought my stamping mat in, but as we're using oxides, it's you know, I'm not going for totally crisp images because I want these to be backgrounds. So we've got that going on there, and let's do it. I think my stamps could do with a little bit of a clean at some point. Let's have a think. Let's go opposite. I'm going to have a think here. What shall we do? I'm going to go opposite for the moment. And just bring that in there. So, I've got that going there. And I want to do one more. I'm just going to do one more and just do a bit of partial stamping. She says. And no, we'll leave that one there. Right, I'm just going to just put a bit of ink on here and just grab my journal. Where's the journal gone? And then just clean this up quickly. My journal's all fallen apart, as you can see, so I'm trying to find all the different parts of my journal. Oh, here we go. I just want to, this is a background when I was cleaning stamps. I just want to clean my stamp off. I'm just going to spritz it. And then I can have a watercoloured image on here. So it's like the starting of another page. I've got that starting there. Oh, that looks quite cool. Let's see if I can get any more of. Might as well clean it up properly. And just do one there. That looks okay. That's the starting point for another journal. Alright, where's my cloth gone? There. Dawn, I use oxides. Like I said, oxides just give you a little bit more intensity, especially when you're demoing, than a distress. But both will work equally on your stamps. I do get into the habit of cleaning my stamps after using an oxide, and that's just, I don't know why, I have just got into the habit of doing it. Right, all I want to do now is, even though the ink will be slightly wet, it won't be 100% wet, but I just want to blend out little bits of the image. And I'm not going for perfect colouring. I just want to pick out certain elements. So it's going to be just like a really subtle little bit of colouring. in the background there. And the same here. And I'm not going to clean my brush in between, because then I'm picking up different colours of the oxides each time I do that. And then you're getting your own little bespoke colour. But by just colouring a little bit of it back in, it just makes it recede, makes the image recede again. So it becomes more of your background. I hope that makes sense. So let's just do that there. And I'm just going to where the darker little bits of the ink are. So we've got that just there. Let's just do a bit there. Okay, clean my brush on the back of my hand. Just going to give it a quick blast. Hi Judith, how are you? Now I shouldn't technically be blasting this on my blending mat, but I'm not going to be doing it for too long, so right, so we've got that there. I'm just going to clean up around the edges, only because I don't want to pick up the ink that's there. Okay, so just want to grab another stamp, and I'm going to use a background stamp at the moment. I'm going to use the circles one for the minute. And what I want to do is I just want to bring in some extra little bits of detail. And I'm going to stick to the same Oxide colours. Now, I'm not going for perfect images. I just want to bring in a background. And this is from my texture stamps. So I'm bringing in, layering up the colours and making it more intense with lighter colours by just doing the different layers of stamping on the top. And I'm picking roughly where I put the initial colour down, if that makes sense. Hi, Joan. So, has anybody got any plans today? We're still decorating and wish we hadn't started sort of syndrome. At least the ceilings are done. Oh, I'm not great with heights, so standing on ladders to do ceilings is just a nightmare for me anyhow. Right, let's just turn that around, and then we've got that one there. I'm just going to spritz this and bring it back into on this background here. So at the same time, I'm making another background that I can work on, using up just a bits of my ink. Let's have a think. I'll put that bit there. And I'm cleaning my stamp at the same time. Right, let's put you there and clean you up. And let's go, put that there. And what do I want to do next? Let's have a think. You know when you've got, I have a plan in my head, but I'm not quite sure where it's going. I want to grab one of the other texture stamps. I'm going to use this diamond one. If I put it on the right block, I've got grabbed loads of blocks out, but didn't think about them. And I think I'm going to go for, I'm going to go for the Squeeze Lemonade, even though it's a lighter colour. As I said, I want the backgrounds to be quite subtle. And just to give a hint, which I know probably for you guys seeing, you can just about probably pick them out, but not 100% see them. So all I'm doing is just building up a little bit, basically a quick background. And I'm leaving the centre point white because I have got an idea in my head, she says. And let's just do one more up there. And I'm going to do, all I'm doing is just picking different areas that I want a little bit of background building up, but keeping into the same colour family. So, And I'm just going to then, let's check my brush is clean. I'm just going to pull out where one or two of them are still wet. Just some of the shapes. So you'll see one or two of the shapes, but not all of the shapes. And it's a quick way of creating, you know, shadow in your background. Also, if you don't like what you've done with your oxides or your distresses, actually any dye basing, the more water you put on, you can do a bleaching effect, and that takes it out as well. So we've got that there. I'm going to do another one, just a couple on here. So we've just got a really, really subtle, pretty background on this baby. I'm going to the pub for lunch. Oh, that sounds lovely, Judy. I'm not sure what our plans are. I hope it's not decorating. You know, you get I hope. Right, let's just put these ones away. Let's give that a quick spritz and we'll just put it on this background. So I'm spritzing. I get into the habit of spritzing out of view. And we've got there. So this one now is just building up with excess colours. Right, let's clean you off and put you away. And I want to bring out, I'm trying to think if I brought out the right mat. No, I need to go nether block. Right, I'm using the layering stamps from Dolly Dimples. If you haven't seen them before, the layering stamps, they look like they should be like a jelly plate. But all they are is a huge stamp with a clear background, which means you can then create lots of inky techniques on the different backgrounds with them. I'm going for the diamond one at the moment with the two triangles because I want to actually make a pattern now in my work. So, as you can see, I don't clean them. And I'm just going to use the same colours. Now, I'm going to use my ink pad over the top. If I put a piece of white card, you'll see what I've done. But I'm not going to blend it in. Because your ink pad has a shape, because it's square, if I show you what I mean. By just randomly putting the ink on in a pattern like that, I've got a background and I've got a textured background without actually having to do much, if that makes sense. And I'm going to spritz it just a little, not very much. And I want to start building up a pattern in my design. So I'm going to go for, I was going to go in the centre, but I'm not now. I'm going to go off to one side. So the water will activate and make some of the oxide a little bit looser. And where I haven't spritzed, I'm going to see the textural pattern from where the ink pad has actually been, if that makes sense. So let's do, have I got enough ink on there? Yeah, let's have a, see if I can activate this again. And I'm going to do up from the top there and make it sort of match. So you can use the stamps in your stamp platform. I'm just using it on a block. I'm just going to take in that little bit of ink because I can see where I want to go on a block just as much as if it was in a stamp platform. So I'm just creating myself a little bit of focal points. I'm just going to clean my stamp off. So all I'm doing is just creating some little different focal points. Hi Alison, how are you? As you can see, so I've got that there. And then I want to bring in, so we've got this here. I'm going to play with some of the Serenity Sisters. And I can't decide which one I want. I'm after a background. I'm after a stamp. Let's have a think. Let's go for that one. And I'm going to go for this design here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp onto this stamp. What I want to keep the design I'm using, and the reason I'm stamping stamp onto stamp is I want to actually keep it within the shape of the initial stamp. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep to the same colour, And I can then create my background and keep within the shape that I've started to use, rather than having to mask off at all. And that's one of the benefits when you have layering stamps like this. You can carry on doing that sort of detail. So then I can just line it up. If I can avoid using a mask at times, I mean, I will, if I'm honest. The other thing as well with using layering stamps like this is that if you had an image that was looking to the right, if you stamp it onto a layering stamp and then stamp it onto your project, it will then look to it's going to the left. So that's one of the other things for layering stamps. It's really good. So I've now got that little subtle detail exactly where I want them to be. And it is really, really subtle. So let's do the same again. But it's changed the direction of the stamp. So I'm just going to build this one up. And I'm like I said, I'm building layers within layers. So the layers are really subtle, if that makes sense. So let's just put this one on the top here. But I don't have to worry then that everything is within its shape. I know what I mean if it doesn't make sense. Right, so I've got that there. I'm just going to clean my stamp off. So that's like a really, really quick, subtle background. Where's my cloth gone? Here it is. Right. Now, I will probably build up on the background, but that's going to be it for the moment. Right, I'm going to put my stamps away and then go on to the next bit, because I do need to let it dry. I prefer to let my backgrounds dry naturally. I know you see us use heat tools and stuff, but for me, letting your background dry naturally gives a better effect. Everyone's different. Right, let's just clean that stamp off onto that background. Okay, so I'm being really good. Oh, and dropping everything. So I'm just going to put everything neatly back and go on to the next what I want to do. Right, let's put you there. I'm just going to put my stamp blocks away for the moment because I don't really need them. Oh, sorry about the noise. Right, I'll just put my oxides neatly away. Right, I'm just going to put this to one side. I want to let it dry so then we can start building up from there. Oh, Alison, that's really... Oh, I'm pleased. Back to work tomorrow. Oh, don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, Alison, is it, with school? Right, let's just put this to one side. And I'm going to bring my stamping mat in, but not because I'm going to do stamping. It's I just want to lean against it to do some sort of colouring. So I'm just going to put my other stamps neatly away and create a little bit of space for myself. Now, what I have done is, and I do this, is I will stamp out loads of different images when I get a new stamp set to play with. And I cut them out. I will create masks as well, but one of the other reasons I do it is it helps you create, in doing this, it helps you create with your different composition that you want to do. So, and it's yeah, it just helps. Now I'm using, which one am I using? I don't know all their names off by heart. I'm using Mindfulness. And I'm going to do something different for me today. I'm actually going to colour with alcohol markers. I know. I'm really trying to get away. No, I love my watercolours. That's a bit of a fib. But I want to try and keep using different things. Sort of thing. They are, Sharon. They're going to be, they are the new ones. And I'm using alcohol markers. And I always use watercolour. And I just thought it'd be nice just to have a play, you know, with different mediums all the time, rather than going down the same route. So, let me think. What do I want? I'm going to use... I'm using... I have got different alcohol markers, but I treated myself to some of Phil's Sentimentally Yours ones. Okay, I've got all of them. And what... They come in different sets. But what I did was I took all my markers out and then I split mine up. I'm a colour family sort of person, so I took them out of all the different sets, and then I've got like my skin tones, I've got my yellows and oranges. I don't think Phil intended that way, and then I'll put like all my green families together. I just find, for me, colouring, that's just so much easier. but we're all different. And we all work in different ways. The other thing I did was that Phil's pens come with a brush nib. And when I did colouring, you know, I started out with alcohol pens years gone by with pro markers. And they always had a bullet and a chisel. And I've always got used to the bullet. And I struggle to use the brush nib, which is a bit of a contradiction considering I'll use a brush nib on a water-based pen and prefer it. But with alcohol markers, I prefer the bullet. So I ordered some bullet nibs, and I've just taken all my brush ones out and put bullets in instead. Like I said, we're all a little bit different sort of thing. Now, I'm no colorist. Is that a right word when it comes to alcohol markers? Well, I'm going to be honest and say, actually, I colour how I like to colour. And I try and take a bit of pressure off myself. There are some super colorists out there with alcohol markers, pencils and everything like that. I have done a few courses, but I just prefer to I got carried away in the colouring, so I forgot that the light was coming somewhere else. I just put it where I like to see it. That's just me. I know we're all different. You struggle with it's really bizarre, Sharon. I struggle with the brush. Charmaine and I were having this conversation the other day, and I struggle with the brush, and it's so I asked for replacement nib sort of thing. It's really weird. Right, I'm just going to build up. I'm using, like I said, I took all the sets out and put them into my colour families that I wanted to use. But then I do that with most of my products. I will sit there and put them into colour families because that's how, for me, it works in my eye. And I find it easier. And I'm just going to put down a little bit of the colour. So I've gone from a lighter colour, which was called Milky White, and now I'm on to Pale Cherry Pink. Nice names. And then what I do is I create swatches of the different colour blends that I like. As I said, we're all different and we all have different preferences. So I'm just going to put a little bit more colour. And one of the things I do like about alcohol markers as well is that the ink dries quickly, so you can build up your colour really quickly. Oh, Alison, that's one thing I need to do is buy myself some more journals. That sounds stupid, isn't it? I mean, I've got a cupboard full of journals, but I do want to do a little bit more with the smooth and do a little bit more with the journaling. I just find journaling is just therapeutic. Right, I'm just going to use a brown, and I'm just going to bring in some darker highlights with her. And I think, for me, colouring of anything, if you do it and you just don't put any pressure on yourself. If you like the way something is looking, you like the way something is looking. So I'm just going to put a little bit of brown as a shadow. I don't know what's this one called. This one is called Rose Beige. Do you know, such a horrible word, beige, because I think it undervalues the... But and then I'm just going to go over with my other colour. Now, I have got some already coloured up, so you don't have to watch me go through the whole process. I stamped with a Memento. I treated myself to a new Memento ink pad. I thought I had one, and I didn't. I only had the small ones. And then I didn't even have a black one. I had loads of different colours. And that was a habit from where I, like if I wanted to stamp a leaf, I would use a green. Right, let's just put a little bit of definition under her nose. And I think is it Julia who always says sort of thing with alcohol markers, it looks wet. it looks worse for a while, and then suddenly it all comes together. So I'm just going to go over with my lightest colour. I like to leave white space rather than colour absolutely everything in. It's just my preference. I get a freebie highlight that way. Like I said, that's just my preference. I know everybody's different. Okay. Oh. Alright, so I'm just going to do that there. And I just want to bring in a little bit of pink. Let's go for that one, because it's there. Dawn, just use whatever you... I have to say, for me, I do a colour swatch. So I'll colour swatch all my pens out. I know I'm a bit of a colour swatch freak. But then what I would do is, with the colour swatch, is I then will pick 2 or 3 pens. And on the same swatch, I'll blend them out until I find the mix that I like to use. And then I've got the numbers that I want to use. And I'll try and think of 2 or 3 different blends with the numbers. And that helps, because if you, and then sometimes as well, you come up with, you end up using different colours that you wouldn't have thought of using before. Okay, I'm just gonna just darken down some areas. But it's one of those that you've just got to keep practicing. I have to put my pens in colour families, but then in number order within the colour families. I know that sounds bizarre as well. Oh, my changing the brush nib was, it's just when I used alcohol markers for a long time, before I discovered the love of watercolouring, it was just, then you didn't get brush nibs on your pens. And I just got used to having the bullet nib, and working with the bullet nib now I find works better for me. As I said, we're all different. But then I prefer a brush nib on watercolours. But saying that though, when I bought the Pentel pens the other week, I actually bought them because they had a bullet nib for a change, which was bizarre. Morning, Charmaine. So I'm just building up. And now no pressure with colouring as Charmaine enters the room. So I'm just building up, but I want to keep her colouring quite subtle. As I said, I'm just... And then if I don't colour certain places and just build the colour up in other places, I've got, where I haven't added colour in different places on her face, for me, it's just a quick way of adding highlights. Hi, Shroom. And that's, I do that whether I watercolour or pencil colour and stuff like that. I just find that works for me better. I can visualise it personally for me a little bit better than colouring everything over and then seeing it from there. I'm using Phil's marker card as well, because I've gone over that quite a few times, and though it's bleeding through, which will happen, it's not that much, and it's a really cool card for markers. Right, so I'm going to just leave the face for there for the moment, and I want to bring in, going to go blues, I think. So here, I'm trying to look at my background. It was blues and greens, but we'll go blue for the moment. I can add some greens in. And let's have a think. I'm going to go the frosty blue. Oh, I just colour as I like, Charmaine. Without being horrible. And I'm going to use the chisel nib, because the chisel nib, why waste time covering an area when the chisel nib will do it for you? And, you know, it creates a different look with your colouring than with your other nib. So I'm just going to quickly put down a light blue coat for her. And then I want this one. And I'm going to use the chisel. So what did I use there? I used the frost blue and mint blue. I use, like I said, I will do a swatch of the different colours. So these two are very similar to each other. So then I've got just a slightly darker shade of the first colour I put down. And I'm going to use the, she's got flowing hair. The chisel, for me, creates quick flowing hair. We're all slightly different. And I'm just going to use a turquoise blue and just go around. So I'm using the line art to give me the movement of my hair. And I'm not going for, you know, perfect colouring. Like I said, I'll leave white space because it gives me a freebie highlight. So I'm just going to lay down the initial colour. And what I should do is turn my work rather than trying to, so apologies. If your lines go off, it doesn't matter as well. But then, that I suppose, if it's your project, it's having confidence in your project and the process you want to do, I suppose. Let's do this one. Sorry, Judith, I'm just reading your comment. I normally use... Yeah, different cardstock. That's why you'll see a lot of us, Charmaine will probably say the same as well. If we swatch, we will swatch on 2 or 3 different cardstocks. Like the go-to ones that you would use all the time. And the reason for that is, like you say, some things will look darker, some things will look lighter. And it is, I know colour swatching seems like a really boring thing to do, but it is actually doing it on the different cardstocks that you like to use. You can, one, see, if especially alcohol pens, how they blend on different colours. And also how, you know, something could have more of a warm base than a white base. And that will affect the look of how your pens look as well. Right, I would like, let me have a think. I'm going to go for, I did a turquoise. I want to do another little bit of turquoise. I'm just going to add a little bit in places. So I'm not, I want quite a loose look with her hair colouring. I don't want too much of a neat look. And we'll blend it in a bit more. Also, when I colour, I'll either get into colouring full stop, or my head is now onto the next part of my project. So I'm quite happy to rush my colouring as well. But again, we're all slightly different how we do it. So I want a few darker bits, and we'll blend them in, as well as a few lighter bits. And I'm just going to go with the flow of the line art. I mean, this is a beautiful image. And I'm getting the chance to play with them before Charmaine's brought them out, which is cool. So I'm just going to go over. There we go. And like I said, I've already coloured a couple of images up because I didn't know how I'd do that. That was a habit. That's a habit sometimes that I shouldn't do, is I will sit here and colour loads of different images up in the colours I want to use. So my go-to colours are normally blue and green to start with, because I like the way they blend and move together. But then what happens is I have loads of projects coloured up, And I've then got to either try and think of a background that matches them, or I don't use them, which just seem a contradiction in terms, really. It's, I mean, I've treated myself, because I haven't done alcohol marker colouring properly for a while. I did go and treat myself up to some proper alcohol marker paper, because I haven't done that, you know, I haven't used it for a while, and I just wanted to make sure that when I did use the pens, I could use them, or I had a paper. And I said that last week, that I know it sounds like we're trying to make you all, when we're on Selly Telly Land, buy into different cards and papers and stuff like that. But it is worth, if you can, having at least one pack of a certain type of paper or card that is designed to go with the products that you're using, and keep that for your special projects, you know, like the card that you really, or that you're going to make a card or do an image. You don't have to use it on every day, but it is worth actually doing that. Okay, so I'm just going to finish off with, let's do a little bit of this. Caroline, I do. It's the first time I've really got used to using it. It was Julia recommended it, and she says she's not known for her colouring, so I thought, oh well, I'll give it a go. And like I said, I want to not always default for speed for to watercolour. I've got the pens, so I might as well use them. But like I said, I changed all mine to the nibs, but then that was because, like I said, with the pro markers, that's what I started out on. Right, so I've got her going there, so she's really quickly coloured. Let's just put these away now. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to put these back in the number order in my head that I had them in my pot. So I apologise, I just got to do that. Just makes it easier for when I do different swatches. Right, that's going to go there. So let's just do that there. So what I did do was I did her again, but I've slightly changed her, and I added greens. So I had once that I was colouring flower. Peeling your spuds. Oh, Dawn, come and do mine. So I did her like in slightly different greens and different colours on her face, and she looks different. Again, she takes on a totally different look depending on, you know, how you want it to do. To me, she looks more mermaidy than does that sort of thing. But what I do want to do, like I said, I did do one, and then I got carried away, because then there's this beautiful other image. Charmaine's on, she's probably going to tell me what it is. Let's have a look. This one is Strength. Let's grab the stamp set before it falls down the back. And I did hers. I started off doing hers again, but then I just decided she'd look cool in rainbow. And I couldn't decide which ones I was going to use today, so hence why I've coloured some up in advance. What I do want to do quickly, though, is I just want to grab some of my jelly rolls. So as you can see, I put like all my pens and pencils into colour families. It's just a habit. And it is, so I just prefer to do it that way. And all I want to do is I'm just going to add just some extra detail, because she's not a real image per se. I can just go over and add a little bits of detail. You can always stamp. I could have always stamped in her hair with different inks. I just thought it'd be nice. And because the Moonlight pens are opaque, if I wanted to obliterate the black line art, they'll go over it. So I just want to add, and I'm just going to do some dots. Dots are nice and easy. So you can always, if the black line art bugs you a little bit, then you can always, if you've got jelly rolls or microns, and I'm just going to put a little dot of colour along her eyes. I don't really want to colour them in, but I just want to add a little bit of blue. Let's go for a sparkle. Where's that one? The rainbow one, yeah, the rainbow one was cool because I didn't have to do any blending really at all. I just used the colours, which was even better. Let's just do a little bit of sparkle. And I'm just going to add some sparkle to her hair because I can go over it. And if I, with your jelly rolls, one of the things that is nice is that whilst the ink is wet, you can blend the ink out, which means I can then colour over with the sparkle bits in the areas I want to do. You've got to work, because the ink's designed to dry really, really quickly, you've got to work in smaller areas. You can't work in lighter areas, I mean in bigger areas, because it'll be dry by the time you get back. But I can then add different details to it and add some little bits of sparkle to her. And I'm trying to avoid using white highlighter all the time. So it's just going to add some tiny little bits of sparkle. Now I would keep building up on the image and keep building up and keep building up. But letting it, letting it layer in different colours. So we got that there. So I'm going to stop playing with those. So I will build those up. So what I wanted to do was, I couldn't make my mind up what I actually wanted. So if I bring my background in, you'll see what I mean. Oh, so so that's the background we created earlier using a mixture of the Shady Designs stamps, the layering stamps, and putting it all together. And I wanted to keep it quite a subtle background. So now I can, so she can sit there and works there quite happily. I mean, I could put two on, but I'm not going to. So she can work, and works with the background absolutely beautifully that way. The darker haired one stands out again in a totally different look compared to the blue. So she's a little bit deeper, a little bit more moodier. So this one blends into the background, stands out but blends into the background, if that's what I wanted to do. And then the rainbow one works with all the colours that I've used to create the different backgrounds. So each of the girls, depending on how you colour them, all work with the background I created earlier really quickly, but they all take on a different vibe, if that makes sense. Right, so I'm going to go, I think I'm going to work with this one because that was the colours I had in mind. I've got a project for the rainbow one, and I'll show you what I've done for the project there. Now, as I said before, what I do is I stamp things out and I will cut them out. And I will colour up one or two different things. As you can see, I've got loads of bits and pieces cut out. And I like doing that because before I stick everything down, it means I've got loads of different elements or stamp that I can actually then start to bring in and play with my composition. So this got, and also it then allows me to work out what colours, if I want to colour any of these, that I'd like them to be. So we've got, so we can colour some of these up in a moment. So I've got those going on there, which will colour up. And I can then do, where I've got the opposite up here, I can either stamp these onto the layering stamp again, or I can start bringing in the different elements that I want to do with them. So I'm just going to create and colour some of these up in different ways. And like you see, I've coloured loads of the different elements that I want to use and bring in. So we've got some flowers there. So it is worth, if you get a new stamp set, actually stamping onto rubbish card that you don't want to use, but you can then see, before you stamp other layers, you can then see how you want to build your images up. I hope that makes sense. And then I can then colour everything in to match how I want things to look. So I'm going to put these there, and we're going to quickly colour in some of these images. I'm going to use these ones. I'm just going to move my background out of the way for the moment, and I'll bring it back in. And I can start then deciding how, so I've got yellows and pinks. So if I bring in some, I'm going to do the flowers in some different yellows. So let's go for that. Let's go for that. And I want to keep them quite subtle for the moment. And I'm going to colour, like I said, I colour quite quickly. So I'm using the colours from the reference from the background I created to then stamp my other elements. So these flowers are on. I'll show you the sets in a moment, which is probably easier. Let's just colour those in there quickly. And I think it's your projects. I mean, these flowers, you could easily cut them out and layer them on top of each other, and you can create really quite layered dimensional flowers. These, right, let's do that there so I know it's done. These flowers are from the Strength Stamp Set. It's that one there. And I'm doing mine. So again, from the packaging, changing the colours, they look totally different. Oh no, Joan. So, and then the feather is also from the Strength. So I'm mixing and matching different things together. So let's bring in a lighter yellow, and then I'm going to bring in a little bit of the pink. So as I said, I want things to coordinate with my background. You could do it clashing. I should have used my chisel, it would be a lot quicker, but hey. So, and faffing afterwards, I would then bring in my jelly rolls and my micron pens and add some more detail. But I'll get as much as we can done. Okay, right, I just want to go and find a pink. And I'm going to use that one, and then we'll colour the leaves up quickly. So, and all I'm going to do is just drop a little bit of the pink in. So you could easily do this with your watercolours as well, because the ink, especially with watercolours as well, if you're doing it, you can, whilst your ink is wet, you can drop another colour into it, and it will, the water will disperse it. So let's just blend that out a little bit more. And because there's line art on a stamp, doesn't actually mean you have to colour your stamp per the line art. Go over the whole lot if that's what you prefer. I'll show you what I mean. I've been playing with art journaling with these stamps for a bit. Let's do a bit of pink there, and I'm going to do a bit of pink around the outside. As you can see now, I'm getting bored with colouring, so I'm just... Right, so we've got that there. Let's just do a little bit of pink on here. Hi, Anne-Marie. How are you? I'm playing with your designs, Anne-Marie. For anyone who doesn't know, Anne-Marie Hutchinson, who's just joined, is the lovely artist who created all of these for Dolly Dimples. So we've got, I'm going to just go there. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the feather yet. I think I might go yellows and blues with the feather, we'll see, or greens. So, right, so I'm just going to grab a couple of greens. As I said, I keep mine in my colour families, it's just a habit. I want, which ones do I want? Quite want that one, I want that one, and I want that one. Alison, I do prefer watercolouring. I'm like you, I do prefer watercolouring. I just wanted to push myself. I wanted to use, I think because I use watercolouring over everything else, it really surprises me now when you use a different medium with something, how they take on a totally different vibe, a totally different look. And I think that's, and then that, I feel like then, because I've done that, it just feels like you're getting more from the product. I don't know. Or is that a load of waffle? You know, or is that a load of waffle? But I just think depending, you know, different things that you use creates a different look. Right, so I've got that there. Let's do the next one quickly. Organize. It's just in my head. It's not organized. I can't. I do the same. Like I'll get a tin of pencils, and it does come relatively. A pencil tin will come relatively colour coordinated, but I have to then put them as my eye would like the colours to be. I'll tell you another person who does that is Paula. But she'll organise all hers, like if she's got them in the tins, she'll actually organise them all so they're like in rainbow colours. So she'll actually start that way. I think it depends on how you get used to things. I just find doing that, I can see different colours that I want to put together, that possibly that if I hadn't done it that way, I may not have used together as a combination. Right, so we've got that there. Let's grab I want to grab yellow. Do I want to grab the yellow or the green yellow? Let's grab the green yellow. You got booted? Yeah, Joan just said she got booted, Charmaine. I don't know what is going on with Facebook at the moment. I think it's trying too many changes. And I think Facebook has been worse since it bought out Instagram. I think it's trying to be like Instagram when it's not. It's a different platform to Instagram. So why not just keep to what was working well for them rather than, you know, be anything else. I mean, they bought Instagram for a reason. So why copy that? I don't know. I'm theologian. Right, so I've got my flowers there. So I'm then going to grab... And what I have done is we get these like little paisleys. So I've started colouring some of those up. I just want to grab some of the colours for those. And I'm going to, then I'll think about how I'm going to do the feather. So let's have a look. Which one did I want for these? I wanted the vermilion. I've got the yellow out. And I wanted the red. So these are all my reds and purples will go together as well. Sorry. I want one or two more of those. And you, like I say, you can do your colour blending how works for you. So. The only thing is I do try and put my pens away in between. Now I want the vermilion. What am I doing? Because like that now, I've picked up the wrong one that I didn't want to use. But hey-ho. So even though I've got a subtle background, I want one or two of the things in the background to be a little bit dramatic. Right, you two are working together. Press the wrong button. Do you know, it depends. If I watch on my phone, I have more problems watching live on my phone than I do on my PC or tablet, which is really bizarre. And I'll find I get booted from live on my phone if I'm watching via my phone than I will if I'm via my tablet, which is a real pain. Okay, let's just grab a bit of blue. And I'll just take from here and put back. Also, I'm going to say with alcohol markers, sometimes I will start light to dark. Sometimes I will start dark and get lighter. it really does depend on what mood I'm in. I know that technically people say that you should start light to dark, but I just colour how I wanted to do it. Right, okay, I think, so we've got to go there. I want to do bits from there. So I've got the contrast. Right, I'm going to do the feathers so they're slightly darker as well. Hi, Sarah Lou. Right, so, and I'm just going to, and I'm going to colour the feathers as one whole piece. Even though we've got all that line art on there, if you don't want to colour each individually, you know, treat it as it is. It's a feather. And you can, you know, colour the whole image as one. You don't have to colour them individually. So for this project, I'm colouring it all as one. But I would, being honest, I would say with all the line art I've got here, I would go in later with a jelly roll or a micron and pick out different parts of the image to highlight it, if that makes sense. Right, and then I want the yellow. So I'm just going to add a little bit of the highlight with the yellow. Designers, when they design stamps, I know Charmaine's in here and Anne-Marie's in here and myself, love it when people can see images or different ways to use things from the way they've done it. Alison's on here, and Alison makes some really cool projects with my stuff, and I look at it and go, oh, wow, you know, oh wow, cool, that idea, and I hadn't even thought of that idea myself, and it's like, oh, I love it, you know, I love that. Right, so I'm going to do the other one, the blue one, blue as well. I'm using Phil Martin's, oh, Charmaine's got their Colour Radiance markers. As I said, they come in different sets. I got all the sets. It's awful when you've got the habit of being a got to have it all person sort of thing. And I've taken the sets apart and I put them then into the colour families I like to use. So I put all my blues together. I put all my yellows, oranges and things like that together, because that's how I like to work them. Right, okay. So I'm just going to... Now the reason I'm just working on the mat is just the surface underneath is rough and I just didn't want to get that, and it's messy. Right, so I've got just a few elements. Now I would colour a lot more up, but we'll make a start on making the page. So let's just move you guys out of the way. I'm just going to move the pens out of the way. Right, let's put you there for the moment. Right, so whenever I bring in my background, and I've got my other elements here that I've already stamped and coloured. So this is like my background that I've got going. So as I said, so she can now sit here on there, but each of the girls takes on a different vibe depending on what you want to do. But I want her to look very serene. In my head, that's where I got the images from. So I want to take away the background now. So what I've done is I just want to create a white background using the washi tape. And I'll explain why in a moment. So let's just move you, young lady, out of the way. And I should have done Patty's trick, which is heat the washi tape first, and then it wouldn't pull the paper. But you know, it's quite nice that way. A different texture. So we've got, there we go. So I've just given myself a white background, and I just thought that would then frame everything. You're making it sound like I pierce your eardrums on a regular basis. Oh, second bout. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I think Charmaine's comment on about the second nibs. Yeah, I think Phil definitely has got them wrong because I couldn't believe how they were. Right, so what I want to do is I'm going to have her there, but she is going to sit a little bit over on the white level. But what I want to do with the actual flowers is I don't want them to be their full size. So I'm going to chop them in half. And I want to chop them in half in different places. So, but I want to keep the tendril. Are they tendrils, vines? I don't know what you call them. So, why I didn't just get my scissors out would have been a darn sight quicker, but hey ho. So, I've got that one there. Push that there. Let's grab this one. And, you know, I do this with a lot of stamped images and I will cut them up because I'm being lazy, so I don't have to stamp and cut out another one. If I cut them up into different sizes, it means when I use my project, I've got 3 or 4 of them. And I'm going to do exactly the same with this as well. And let's just push that through. And I'll see if I need to cut any more. So, let's just move my ink pads out of the way. So she's going to sit there and just grab some glue. Oh, just really catching up that. Oh, Sarah Lou. Oh. Right, now I'm just going to put the tiniest amount of glue on just to place her in place. Because I want to build up behind her, so I don't want to stick her down fully. So now what I want to do is where I've got these smaller elements of the flowers, I can actually then mirror them so they're going to go across where my border is. Because I can always add glue to my project, it's harder to take it away. So now I'm just going to put the little bit of the flower that's going to go there. And then I can do exactly the same this side. So I've just coloured 2 flowers, but it'll look as if I've done and coloured a lot more, if that makes sense. So now I can do that there. And then I want to bring in a little bit of the feather. And because I haven't stuck her all the way down, I can bring in a little bit of feather. Now I want to have a plate. Actually, I'm going to cut that, but I'll grab scissors this time, in half. I've got loads of it. I know, but the thing was though, oh, right, okay, we've got loads of bits there. I'm going to be honest, right. I have got loads of bits here, and I've got loads of bits coloured up, and I've made loads of bits. They're really cool stamps for card making, but, you know, for your backgrounds. Well, anyhow, the other night, I was stamping away merrily, and I'd stamped out loads of different of these images, and I'd made myself a coffee, but I'd made it in my travel mug. And normally, when you're creating, you've got your travel mug on there and everything like that. And I was, you know, I then decided I really wanted a biscuit. So what I decided to do was I took the lid off my travel mug to go and dunk my biscuit. And turned around to pick up something. My elbow then knocked my travel mug, which then went over all my stamped images. But the worst part was I'd stamped about 8 pages worth of different images. Oh, the air was blue, to say the least. Right, so, oh, I was a little bit peeved with myself. So now all I'm doing is I'm just building up. So I've cut that one in half. So now I can take the other side of the feather and I can have it sticking a little bit out there. So you don't always have to colour. You know, don't always think you have to use a whole image. Use little bits of images as well. So now what I want to do is I just want to add some extra bits going on. Oh, I was livid with myself. I was just, I couldn't believe I did it. And then Charmaine phoned me and I was just like, oh, no, I'm not in the best mood. And I had to show her but the worst part was I was staying in a hotel. And I'd knocked the coffee. The coffee then flew across this desk and the TV was here. And I could see like this tidal wave of coffee going towards this TV. It went over the floor. Oh, it was like mad panic. Oh, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, no, you Egypt was the phrase that came to mind. Right, I have got loads of little bits. Now, on one of the stamp sets, you get a flower that where is it? It's on the Mindfulness one. And you get a stamp here that does like a 4-layered flower. But what I've done is I've stamped it, but I just wanted the 4 petals. So, which you can do, which I've cut out, as you can see. And I want to layer up some of the black and white images against it, but they're going to be in a moment. So I've taken that. So I've taken that. I did have a little bit like I had Tourette's, yes. I know, Alison, and I never do that normally. And it was because I was dunking a biscuit and I wanted a biscuit, sort of thing. And I was just, I was so cross with myself. It was just unreal. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm just building up some of the other elements I've got there already. And I've got another piece of the flower. And I'm going to do exactly the same over here and build up some of the other elements. Now, I'm going to bring in some of the black and white elements as well as the colour. But what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to roughly place just the tiniest bit of glue, because I can go back over and add glue. But as I said, I can't take the glue away. And I'm going to just add these in to create a border. Now, there is a plan to why I'm doing that. I know it seems a little bit random the way I'm doing it, but I'm going to yeah, let's do a second flower there. So I will go over with and add some little bit more glue when I've got everything in place. But oh yeah, let's just say the air was a touch blue with myself. Oh, like, oh, I was just I couldn't believe that, how silly I'd been. But the only good thing about it was I hadn't coloured that many in. I'd only just done a few, so it wasn't quite so bad. I was livid. Right, I'm going to take some of the black and white ones. So this circle, I'm going to do exactly the same. And I'm just going to add some elements behind that have got a little bit of white to them. So let's grab a whole circle. So I'll keep those little bits there. And I've got the flowers that I want to use. Oh, they've got some really cute mushrooms as well. As you can see, I couldn't decide what I wanted to use, so I actually stamped and cut out so many bits. And you get these little hearts, and they are really cool. I mean, obviously you could have them coming from her hair, but they actually make really good, cool dangles as well. Right, so I'm distracting myself now. And what I'm thinking about doing is just adding a little bit there, which I can. See, I've stuck these down now. This is what I was saying, not sticking everything down. That's it. Let's tuck a little bit in there. I should have followed my own advice. So I just want to tuck it, that's it. So I want to have some elements that are just standing out. Right, okay, I will add some other bits on. But one of the things I did want to do is on the, let's move the scissors. On the Mindfulness Stamp Set, you get this really cool dangle. I think it's a dangle, but in my head, I thought it also made a really, really cool border. Right, let's grab a stamp block. Right, let's grab a small stamp block rather than a huge, great big one. And I thought it made a really great like border as well as a dangle. So what I want to do is I just want to ink it up. And I just want to take it that I'm grounding these images here. And I'm going to go across her a little bit. Oh, I was just so, I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. And all because I've wanted a biscuit. Oh. Right, so what I'm doing is, I'm not going to join the border there because I just want it a little bit on her hair. So I'm taking where her liner on her hair finishes, where that dark line is, and I'm putting this border strip. So what it's doing is it's giving me an edge to my work. Now I could put the hearts and together like that, but I'm not. I'm just going to carry on creating a border that then, so it's grounding my actual image along. And this is why I wanted to keep a white part to my work, so I could create different corners for things to work in. And I'm going to do exactly the same at the top. Now, I probably should stand up to do this, so if it goes a little bit skew with, it goes a little bit skew with. So I'm just going to do and carry along. And I've got that there. I just want to grab a scrap piece of paper. I'm normally surrounded by scrap bits of paper. Can I find a piece now? Can I heck as like? Right, and I just want to go into the corner here. So I just thought it was a nice way just to create a little bit of an edge to my work. And I'll go around the other corner. And all I'm doing is just putting a bit of scrap paper here so I don't go over to that white border. I mean, if I'd have kept the thing there, it would have been... it would have been a lot easier. Let's move the ink pad before I just put everything. I'm just going to rotate this a bit so I can just go that like that. As you can see, so that's now framing there. And I'm just going to go up that edge there. And just join these here. So now I've just created just quick focal points on it, sort of thing. Now, okay, ask, does it need another second black line there, or shall I leave it as is? So does it need me to do another border bit up there, or just leave as is? What does everybody think? Oh, Judith, I haven't walked mine yet. I'm dreading it. I'm absolutely dreading it. Okay, Anne-Marie, another one. Cool. So, I'll just put that there. Right, so we've just got a quick framing of the actual images. Anne-Marie, sorry, Anne-Marie answered me first. So, but the other thing we could do, if we now wanted to bring a little bit of contrast of the black in, is we get on the, whoa, I'm dropping things everywhere. On the strength stamp set, we get like these sort of elements that we could do. So, for example, I'm just going to, if I just take the stamp here, I can add some extra detail, which I'm going to do with a little bit of the black to bring in just on those corner pieces there, just to tie in one or two bits. But what I want to do is, like I said, I should have kept the washi. I just want to put this back here because I don't, the white border was there just to give me a quick way of creating a frame on my work without me having to mat and layer, if I'm honest. So I just want to add a tiny little bit of detail just to finish off that line there. And that can just go and just sit there like that. So we get those little dangles that I can bring in and actually just extend the line just a tiny, tiny, tiny little bit. Right, okay. And so there's lots of little elements in the stamp set that you can build and use in lots of different ways. So we've got that there. Put your stamp block away. No, I'm trying to be... There's me saying I'm trying to be tidy. I am relatively tidy, I have to be honest. So now what I wanted to do is where we've got like some of the white flowers and I've got some of the white elements in, I can now, I just want to bring in, because we've got the white borders, so I could colour the flower up and put a flower in her hair, but I quite like her being as she is. I can now add in some of the black and white images just to tie in, bring in the border and the stamps together, so it looks like there's a reason why we've done it. Now I've got mushrooms somewhere. Where have I cut you out? Yeah, I knew I'd cut some out. Let's just cut this along here for the moment. I'm going to cut these straight. I haven't coloured these in at the moment. Or I could add, so it's just to tie in a little bit of the white. I'm not going to stick these down. I have to live with it for the moment. So it was to create a quick page. I think I'm going to do a flower. Sorry, there we go. Because I think I'll have 3 flowers. So I'm just going to put a little bit. So like I said, I would put all my glue in places. So I'm just going to add the white there. So it just ties in the border. So it was just to create, you know, so we created a really quick background using the Shady Designs with the layering stamps and then bringing the images in. So just finish with a sentiment. Okay, so, right. Black or white sentiment? Black or white? Wait, someone say, so black or white, as it were. White, okay. So, okay, right. There's a couple I like here. So one I like is You Bring Inner Peace to My World. We've got Serenity Begins with a Smile. Right, if I put the sheet there, you might be able to read it a little bit. May all your vibes say I got this. Today, make peace of mind your priority. You bring calm to my soul. Anybody got a particular sentiment they think would go with it? And we'll cut it out. I know there's a lot on that page, sorry. It's not like I put like 3 options down, did I? I gave you loads. Be you, the world will adjust. Okay, Charmaine. Be you, the world will adjust. Okay, let's cut that one out. And I have to trim it properly. All right, there we go. Calm to my soul. Okay, right, well, I'll do that on my other one then. Right, I've just got to trim this down. Otherwise, it'll bug me if it looks slightly skew with. Even though that I've done skew with lines around the edge, it'd just be really, ugh, it would just bug me. Right, there we go. Right, okay. Oh, I'm dropping flowers everywhere now. I'll get that there. So I thought what I would do is I will neaten that there. So we could have the sentiment up the top here, or we could have the sentiment to go near the lady. I don't want to stick it in the middle because I just think it looks like it's floating randomly if it's stuck in the middle. So we could have it near the image, or we could have it so it becomes a focal point in its own right. What do people think? I'll put that there. Bottom. Okay, Alison. Right, it's going to go along the bottom. So I'm going to have that so it goes there, and then we've got the white bits there. So what I'll do is I will stick those down, but in essence that is my image. That's my page. But I mean, if you wanted to build up and create, I mean, I will put probably a couple of dangles, but I probably colour them in, like where we've got the hearts, just to elongate this bit here. I will colour these in, or I might even add a feather and a heart, and I'll colour them so I can just create a little bit of depth to the page. But at the moment, I'm going to leave it as is. So we've got that page there, but in the same way, if I took that image and where I've done the girl with the rainbow hair, she would work just as well with the same sort of page. You know, so each of the images can work just as well. So we're going to have that one there. Now, one I did do, and I'm going to be honest, Anne-Marie, and say I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it at all. In this, and you can ask Charmaine, and I kept saying to Charmaine, I don't get it. In the Mindfulness set, we get the beautiful girl, which is who I've used today. But we get also like this Mother Nature tree. I do get this shape. Look at the shape. Sort of thing. And I just really wanted to use the two together. So I've been playing. Okay, and this is the other page I created. And this one is... So this one is more serene and subtle. But this one now is bold and in your face. So I've taken the Mother Nature image, and then I've taken the beautiful girl image from the stargazing stamp set. Let me just get that in and you'll be able to see what I mean. So I've taken her from stargazing, and then I've put the tree against it, so it looks like Mother Nature is coming out from the tree. And I wanted this one to be a completely contrast. Again, I've done the white border because I like the white border. And so, you know, so the images can be bold and bright, even though they've got a serene vibe to them. So, you know, whatever. And then I've gone, for my sentiment, I'm probably going to go for be it, live it, radiate it out. And this, so I created the background like we did before, and then I've taken the layering stamp, the circle one, and layered it all up and added all my stamp details inside it, and then added the stamped images. So they have a really cool serene vibe to them. You can go really serene and, you know, soft, or they work just as well being absolutely in your face. Sort of thing. You're going to have it. So, and again, this is me colouring. I didn't want to do, I've coloured with alcohol markers because I wanted it to be a different contrast to the watercolour images. So, I'm going to love you and leave you. But the stamps, I believe, are coming out Tuesday, Charmaine. I believe. But, you know, so they work individually, but they also work with other stamps from Dolly Dimples, my stuff, everybody's stuff that you've got together. So let's just put that there. So, but I've got to show you, I did do another one as well. Sorry, Anne-Marie. I've been making journal pages galore. Where is it? Here we go. Sorry, I'm going to apologise. My poor old journal, the back fell off because it's so used. Where is it? I've lost my page. But then I wanted to do something and... oh. So this is the page I've created, but I want her to be there. And I've used my stuff now, but I wanted her to be it. So never be the echo, be the voice. So the images work with lots of other things that you've got going together. And I'm loving that because these are using my backgrounds now, but being able to bring those images in works just as brilliantly. So I'm going through all my different backgrounds that I've created and seeing how they work. Where's the other one? So like this one here, this is one of my backgrounds. And how cool does she look? Sitting there, you know, working with like my stuff. It works out absolutely brilliantly. And I never even thought of that. So... you know, the girls will cross over and work with your card making, your art journaling, absolutely everything, however you want them to be. So I've got to colour her now again, and just add her, because I just think she looks perfect. Well, both of them, actually, she looks just as good. But, you know, I can now, which is what I wanted for mine, is to take it to the next stage and be able to use images within my stuff as well, not just create backgrounds. So they really are versatile, you know, stamps. So, I mean, this is a mixed media background, you know, but they are beautiful, Anne-Marie. They are beautiful. So, Charmaine, when I send you them all, I need my art journals back, please. Just a hint, love. Just a bit of a hint. So I hope that was... thank you ever so much for your time and company today. And, you know, I hope, you know, you enjoy just, you know, creating a quick art journal page. And, you know, nice and serene and beautiful images. Right, I'll see you all soon. Take care, everyone. And thank you ever so much for your time. See you soon. Bye.